Hello, let's get this wreath drawn, shall we? So the first thing you're going to do in pencil, all of this starts in pencil, is draw a circle. And then I'm basically going to add sticks going from the bottom to the top. I try and do a kind of wildish direction, but whatever you want is fine. So this will be the basis of our wreath. So I'm just going to do a very basic leaf shape, like whatever I imagine as a leaf is what I'm drawing now. Because we're going to do a few different types of leaves on top. So yeah, this is just very basic leaf shape. Then after this, I believe I go onto a maple leaf. So I'm showing you how I draw it. Basically, when I draw maple leaves, in the pencil bit, I basically draw like a butterfly shape with another leaf where the butterfly's head would be. That's how I start all of my maple leaves. It is better if you do what would be the bottom two wings to be slightly smaller, but it really doesn't matter. Anything you do will work, especially once the shading's done. So you'll see me repeat this. I think I do 5 maple leaves. So the butterfly wing shape, and then as if it's wearing a hood. What am I doing? Why is it not moving? Oh yeah, it's at the bottom. Butterfly wing shape, and then a hood. And that's how I do the basic outline of a maple. Now we're doing oak leaves, and don't worry, because this is all in pencil, don't worry about them laying on top of each other. Oak leaves are so lovely to draw because they're just basically splodges. I try and make the tip more narrow than the bottom or the mid bit, but they're just really, really nice to draw. So they're my oak leaves. Did I add any other things? No, I didn't. So this is where we're going to ink it in, and I'm going to show you two different ways that I outline the maple leaves. So I use a semi-thick pen for this, probably around a 0.5 in Fineliner, maybe a 0.4. And I try and do a jagged edge. I do it 2 different ways. So this is one way I do it, where I just sort of make little spiky protrusions, I guess. And I did similarly, but I did less. So still spiking up, but definitely not as many as the first one, which was really jagged. Well, that one is actually. And then this way is probably my favourite. I do it more as if I'm drawing like a holly leaf, so there's a curve between each of the points instead of just jagged. I'll do a point, a curve, a point, a curve. And yeah, I do prefer this way. I think it looks more like the maple leaves that I'm imagining when I draw it. So that's me just continuing. So yeah, again, probably a 0.5 or a 0.4 fine liner for this. And then after this bit, I think I just put in the middle veins. So when you do maple leaves, there'll be a vein in each leaf. Mine are dodgy shapes. They definitely are dodgy shapes, but it looks fine when it's shaded. So I will do a line in the middle, and then from that line, I branch off into each of the separate leaves. It's actually better if you branch off a little bit higher up I did it from the very base, but I actually think it looks a bit better if you do it slightly higher up. Oh, sorry, I'm yawning. So just doing the midlines. Again, don't worry if it looks a bit weird at this point. I think I'm trying to decide which way's up on this leaf. Okay, so I show you 3 different ways that I shade in maple leaves. You can pick which one. So the first one, I'm saying imagine each section as a mini leaf. And then again, the pen that I use is probably a 0.5 for this. And when I imagine them as mini leaves, I go up one side of the vein, and then I come down the edge of the leaf, because that's how I shade just like a bog standard leaf. And I will repeat that for each of the 5 mini ones. It doesn't matter which side is coming down and which side is going up. But that is, I'll then go up the vein. And again, don't worry about it. I promise you it looks much better when it's like all put together. And then the next one, this will carry on. Should I be quiet? Yeah, I'll just be quiet for this. I'm back. So the next one, I do it more like lightning, basically. So I imagine the veins coming off the main bit, and I split some of them. I think, oh sorry, my chest made a weird noise then. I think I did this in a slightly thinner pen. So maybe if I did the rest in 0.5, this would maybe be a 0.3. And you can see I'm just doing a vein coming up and splitting it. I think this is my favourite way to shade the maple leaves. But the third way I do is I do both of them together. So I do half of each mini leaf as the flicky lines, and then the other half as the lightning-esque thing. Because I wanted to try them all out. I think for the 2 remaining leaves, I think I do like a mixture of both. So yeah, you can see I do the flicky lines up and then the other half lightning. What did I do for the other ones? Oh, I zoomed past that bit, but apparently. So now this is just me adding splodges. I just do it to make it look more realistic and more what we would see in nature. It's very rare that you find perfect leaves, especially in autumn. And now this bit, you can do it if you want. If you are doing it as a hand drawing, colour it in when the rest of the wreath is done. But if you're just drawing some maple leaves, then by all means you can colour it in now. But it's basically me just making them different shades of orange. Now I'm going to ink in the rest of the leaves. So do I start with the oak leaves or the other ones? Basically, oak leaves I make thicker than the other ones. What am I doing? Oh, didn't like that line. So I'm picking a 0.3 for this. You'll see me wiggle around trying to find the right pen for a bit. Yeah, so this is when you decide what lies on top of the other bit. So I'm basically leaving gaps if I want something to be slightly on top of the other one, if that makes sense. I definitely make that bit thicker. For the oak leaf, I definitely do either a 0. I think I do a 0.5. They're quite, can't think of the word. Oak leaves are quite sturdy leaves. They're not very bendy. So that's how I decide on my pen thickness. The more sturdy it is, the thicker the line that I draw. And this opportunity, I also add any extra leaves if I think there's a weird gap. But the rest of the video is me just lining the rest of the leaves. I'm going to put a picture at the end so that you can see how I shaded the other leaves, although that will be in the next video. But that's, yeah, pretty much it. But yeah, I'll add the picture in literally a second.